What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio. The Mako Rugby Roundup.
Welcome to another episode of the Mako Rugby Roundup. I'm your host, Chris Butler, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Les Edwards. John Davis, good to see you.
Nice to be here, mate.
What have you got on there, Les? That's
green
Brazil
for
rugby.
Yeah, but green for Maris, yellow for Collingwood.
Yeah, with a bit of Brazilian
flavour
mixed in there. Is there a story behind that?
No, not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
So Tabuera, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've seen Quinn play JAB rugby in a jersey this sort of colour as well.
Close, yep.
Very good. Today, our special guest is Crusader and Mako captain Quinton Strange. Great to have you here, mate.
Yeah, cheers. No, it's a pleasure to be here.
Great stuff. This week, the lineup is NPC. We've got the Rugby World Cup and, of course, a chat with Quinton about the season so far with the Mako, but also the rugby career so far and where it all started for Quinton. Our venue sponsor is O'Shedigans on Bridge Street, and if you're in search of the perfect spot to catch all the action, O'Shedigans on Bridge Street is the place to be. So how's the week been? And
Decent week, mate. Yeah, not the result for the Mako boys that we sort of were all hoping for, but it leads us into a busy weekend. This one, with obviously World Cup quarterfinals, mate. So that's what the focus shifts to for this weekend, and we'll be open right through Saturday night into the early hours, and carry on through to Sunday morning. And
that's going to be
away we go.
Big 48 hours.
Yeah, it will be, mate.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've had plenty of people waiting for this New Zealand Irish game, so there'll be hopefully a full house, and even though it's 8 a.m, we'll all be merry and in good spirits.
We never know. You've got other quarters too, so some of us might be turning up to
watch
a bit of that.
No, it'll be a busy weekend, no doubt.
Yeah, that's great. Good stuff. O'Shedigans on Bridge Street. Come and check them out. Oh, you're doing the breakfast.
Breakfast Sunday morning, mate. Yeah.
$20 breakfast.
You're hungry,
all the trimmings, they reckon.
All the trimmings, mate. It's become very famous, this breakfast. It's almost outgrown us, mate.
Is that right?
Outgrowing the kitchen.
Are you going to have to take the premises next year just to keep up?
We're in talks of larger kitchens,
Oh, good stuff. Okay, let's get into the Bunnings Warehouse NPC and the quarterfinal. Taranaki 34, the Tasman Mako 18, halftime 13 all, and I managed to catch most of the second half. Quite a brutal match. So, Quinton, you're right there at the coalface. So, give us your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I thought the first half was pretty tit for tat. We were playing some really good rugby, had them under pressure, and we had the ball a lot, making them make a lot of tackles, and it was a good feeling going into half time, and I think we come out in the second half, and we just went to sleep in a couple of moments, and that was all they needed, and they were a couple of quick tries, and then all of a sudden we were having to try play catch up rugby, and probably put ourselves under pressure at times as well. So, which was unfortunate because I felt like the game was there to take. Yeah,
because certainly the piece I saw, it was kind of during that period where they scored quite quickly. But then after that, I mean, you were absolutely hammering their line, but they were defending like anything. It was like a brick wall at times. It didn't quite go your way. And for the rest of the game, the score didn't really change without. So it was just that short period of time where they got some quick scoring.
Yeah, you're right. It was straight after half time there, and I thought we did really, really well to get ourselves in positions to score tries and pressure their line. It was just that last little bit getting over the line, whether it be a little bit of skill set or miscommunication or something like that. Hurt us in the end.
Yeah, right. All right. The armchair experts. What do we think, Les?
Oh, it was that period immediately after half time. I thought, it was great that the guys had gone into that first half with a great deal of, strong attitude and will to get it right. And 13-all was, a decent scoreline. So at half time, they made one change, brought on Jason Poltros at 5'8". And he just had a magic spell, where he created out of nothing, really, two stunning tries, and that just put you on your bum, didn't it? So he made a huge difference. And then to rub salt into the wound came a third try, which was due to the intervention of the worst TMO decision I have ever seen in the NPC. So how Alex Nankivell was denied the tackle, yellow carded, and a penalty try, just beyond me and beyond a lot of other people who like their rugby.
Yeah, exactly. I think, at halftime I had the same feeling. Thought we were right in it, and like the birds have said, it once you start chasing the game, unfortunately, 2 even teams and Taranaki with the lead, just too hard to catch.
So that Jason Boltros is quite interesting, isn't he? He doesn't look like a 5'8",
no.
but he can do some unorthodox things, and quite talented.
Yeah, he's a great player. I think he started his career quite late too, which is awesome to see him, come on and do well for. No doubt he's a proud Taranaki man, and
So what was the general feeling after the game? The boys felt that they left it all out there, or do you think that they just a little bit disappointed? Obviously, they're disappointed in a loss. You're not going to be joyed by it, but what was their general feeling about the game?
Yeah, obviously initial disappointment and little bits of shock, because we knew, we knew through the season that if we play our best rugby, that we can genuinely compete for the title. And I think we just felt like at times in the last probably sort of 3 weeks, we hadn't really clicked as a group, and which was I think frustrating for all, because the effort was there. And then, there's the flip side of things, like you've got a couple of good mates in Hunty and Nank leaving, their time at the Mako coming to an end. And so it was all sort of, a bit of mixed emotion, and couldn't really believe that it had come to an end so quick.
Yeah, because I think that the intent was there. That was the thing. I certainly, Taranaki, I thought defended quite well. It was a bit like that Northland game, was no matter what you threw at them, but also, as you said, just at those right occasions, there might have been a mistake, or and that's what happens when when you're trying to do a bit of catch up football, isn't it? You're trying to throw everything at it, and it's not as though the guys didn't; they did try for sure. But Taranaki on their home ground, there was no way that they were going to give up that line in a way. Yeah.
So the season ended with a 6-5 record. That was 5 home games, 5 home wins. Really, the home's a fortress. 1 win away, and then, as you say, the last 3 weeks of the campaign, sort of, that's where it didn't get to the heights that you would have been aiming for. So a 6-5. What was the take in the review sessions at the end of season on the season?
Yeah, obviously, we were pretty proud to have that 100% win rate at home. And a couple of them were tough games, Auckland and Harbour at the end of Storm Week. They went to extra time. So we knew the grit was there for us. It was just a couple of away games, like the Northland one where we didn't fire. That was and then, like the Canterbury game, we just gave them too big of a head start, and to come back within 3 points or 2 points, whatever it was. It did show like the quality in what our side, if we could put a full 80 together. And then obviously, like there's a couple of other games, Wellington and Bay, where Wellington, we were definitely in the game. It was a similar thing, losing a couple of 10s in the game. You don't plan for that, and all of a sudden there was a big reshuffle. But like in all of those games, there were patches where we were like looked like the better team. So I think moving forward it is exciting if we can hold a real similar group together.
Good stuff. All right, well, let's turn our attention to the semi-finals and our thoughts on that. So you've got Taranaki versus Canterbury. Taranaki get the home patch, and Wellington versus Hawke's Bay. So your thoughts on those 2 games?
Yeah, I think the Taranaki Canterbury one will be close. I think, Canterbury obviously losing Fergus Burke last weekend, which is unfortunate for him to injury. And I think at home, they're a different kettle of fish, Taranaki. So I'm not sure who's going to win it, but it's not going to be by a blowout anyway.
And what do you thought, Wellington at home versus Hawke's Bay? I mean, Hawke's Bay have already shown that they can tip them up. And, amongst the controversy during the week, they managed to get over a Bay of Plenty side, which have been playing quite well. So that's going to be an interesting match too, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think, what was it? It was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Hawke's Bay went down and won in Wellington. So I think Wellington will be hurting from that, and Tamati Ellison will have them fired up. So I think Wellington will win that one. Yeah.
So from what you can see, Wellington, they've definitely been the form side, be quite hard to beat.
Yeah. No, it's hard to, disagree and say that they haven't. So yeah.
Les, what are your thoughts?
I'll let Sean have it.
No, yeah.
You reckon? You sure?
Yeah.
No, listen, I think Taranaki Canterbury will be pretty hard to pick. It's going to be two pretty close teams there, but I think that I feel like Hawke's Bay are running downhill a bit now. They pulled back that's 20 odd points on Bay of Plenty in the last half an hour of that game, 20 minutes of that game on the weekend as well. And I think there's an opportunity there if they can stay close enough for the 60 minutes. I reckon they'll come home a bit stronger than Wellington.
Geez, that'd be a good story, wouldn't it? I mean, we were Division 2, weren't we? And we only just scraped through them. They've always been fierce rivals, and for them to pick up a title, that would be amazing for them, wouldn't they? Yeah. What about you, Les?
Yeah, so never tip against Canterbury, but I will. Yeah. I think Taranaki are at home. I think the other ones I think are running downhill. I think they've got a full head of steam. They've got really good cattle across the field. I like them, but it won't be close. I agree with Quinn on that. Wellington versus Hawke's Bay. I think Wellington might get back on the horse, and with Karefi at 7, pinching a whole lot of ball, I'm going to tip Wellington to win that.
Right, there you go. Good stuff. All right, the Rugby World Cup, and last week New Zealand 70 versus Uruguay, and
tip that.
13 plus.
There was a couple he didn't know, but we're going to get to that. So New Zealand 70, Uruguay 0, and I think New Zealand probably quite pleased with keeping them scoreless, because Uruguay, when they throw things at it, they have proven they've been able to get across the line against some tough teams. But I mean, a good result there. But geez, the next two, England 18 coming from behind versus Samoa, Yeah,
I think and the Samoan coach, I think, talked pretty well about it. Just the question marks around the tier 1 versus tier 2 and a few of the decisions that get made, and a bit of controversy around some disallowed tries for Samoa there. So, but yeah, hell of a game. I did think at the start of this tournament that Samoa would go close to upsetting one of these teams, but they just fell short, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was only just. And then Portugal over top of Fiji.
So this is the one where I advised everyone to put their house on
I know.
Fiji, so I hope no one did.
Yeah.
And just scraped through with 1 point, because when I saw the win, I thought, oh, that's Australia, through. And, and then they go on to, I'm not too sure who they would have faced in, in the quarters, but, imagine him going through into perhaps winning the quarters and going through to a semi-final. Imagine Eddie Jones then, he would be unbearable.
Funny to say, wouldn't he? And there were times in that game where Portugal led by 7 or 8 points or something like that as well. So, Eddie would have been right on the edge of his seat for a wee while.
But then quite early in the piece, the commentators were pushing the fact that Fiji got the bonus point, so they'd go through regardless. But boy, Portugal just over the moon, though. I
thought their play was stunning.
Yeah.
They seem to figure it out, eh?
They are a really good team. And I saw some stats compared to their last World Cup and this World Cup, and the improvement they've made in 4 years, just terrific. So and then I saw a video of them getting home, and there's really big passion for rugby in their team in Portugal as well. So it's a nation on the up, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and I just love the reaction from the crowd. The players were going over to the fans, and everyone was crying. The people in the stands were crying. The players were crying. They're just over the moon, and that's just fantastic to see. But
did you catch any of these games, Quinn?
Not the Sunday ones. I was a bit occupied. But I did see a clip of the Fiji and the end of that game, and some passion on show there.
All right, so we'll leave the New Zealand Island game till last. We're going to do some predictions. So we'll start with you, Quinn, and Sunday 4 a.m. Presume you'll be up for that.
Mate, we're up. Yep, we're up.
So Wales versus Argentina. So what are you picking there?
It's a tough one. Hey, I really want Argentina to win that. I think they've been, you've seen bits of them the last few years that they can be great, and I think they deserve it too, because they actually have some really good players and they play some great rugby, and it'll be awesome to see them, I think, go through to a semi-final. It would be great for rugby in Argentina.
All right, picking Argentina. Les, what do you reckon?
I'm thinking Wales. I think that Argentina will miss your mate, the number 6, who played for the Crusaders.
Pablo.
He's out injured.
Yeah.
They'll miss him a lot. And I don't think Argentina have quite fired this World Cup.
No, they haven't. No.
I think Wales under Gatland and, with the Buddha bigger. I've got them.
Yeah. I probably agree with you. I'd like to see Argentina get up. And I feel like they did show enough against Japan. I thought Japan may have pushed them a bit closer than that, but in the end, Argentina sort of took control of that game. If they can click, they could beat them. But I think probably the game control of the Welsh will probably get them home.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Wales on that one. Let's go back the other way around. England versus Fiji.
But before the Fiji-Portugal game, I thought Fiji would probably get them here. Look, I think there's probably enough in that England outfit to get this one done. I would love to see Fiji win it, but I just don't think they'll have enough in this one to get it done. Yeah,
Fiji have to trust their instincts and play like Fiji, and not try and play like a European team.
I think that's it. They sort of. Against that Portugal game, they sort of just went into their shell a bit and tried to play a bit too structured, I guess. It's that free running style is
absolutely.
The one.
They've certainly got the dynamic players that could beat England, but I'll tip England just perhaps because of the fly half and Marcus Smith at fullback. That'll do it for them, I think.
What do you reckon, Quinn?
I think the kicking game of England this World Cup's been pretty outstanding. Like, that's all they seem to do is just they don't want to play in their half, and they'll kick and then they'll wait, and then whoever they're playing will try run it out from too deep and force themselves into errors. So I think if Fiji can stay in the kick battles and kick smart, they could win it. But I think the technical awareness of England may prevail. Yeah,
I'm picking England. Okay, France versus South Africa.
It's a beauty.
Are you open on Monday?
Yeah, we'll be open to that.
Yeah. Good question. I'm going to go Africa.
Yeah.
I feel like they've had their one slip up with Ireland, and they'll be passionate, and I feel like the forwards will win it for them.
Rightio.
Yeah.
The bomb squad.
Oh, this is tough. And isn't it a shame that the 4 best teams are on one side of the semis, right. and two very, very good teams are going home after this weekend. So, look, of the two, I just for sentimental reasons, I'd like to see France get a win and add to the nations that have won this thing, perhaps. France, just.
How many people you fit in that stadium? Like 60, 70,000 French screaming at them.
Yeah.
I think that'll be probably the determining factor. I think France will get up for this. I don't like tipping all the Northern Hemisphere teams, but I think France might get the job done with that home advantage.
And they certainly haven't lost too much, have they? At halfback and first five, with the loss of those two guys. They are sharp. They are so talented, and their forwards are big. South Africa's bigger forwards is where you're saying they could get the edge, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on, the weather as well. Like if it's raining or it might not be, that could be a tipping factor. If you've got just a rolling maul game, Africa, it's pretty hard to stop when they get their tails up. But again, the fly half and the way that France played as a team with 70,000 odd behind them,
it's just going to be a cracker. That'd be a great game.
All right, I'm going to pick South Africa based on their defence. They know how to defend in finals, and they've been there before. Right, Ireland versus New Zealand, and if you look at that France-South Africa game, and you're going, are we saying the same about Ireland and New Zealand?
Well, let's hear what you got to say, Chris.
Oh, you want mine?
Absolutely. It's tough, eh?
If I had, I think New Zealand's going to be up for this game. The concern I've got is that, there was 10 minutes versus Italy where we fell into some of our old habits again, where when they put the pressure on us, we folded at the breakdown and we gave away too many penalties. And we've got to get that out of our game. And the other thing I'm worried about is under pressure, our kicking game. We showed that on more recent against Italy again, that if we're prepared to put it through our hand and do tactical kicking as opposed to these just willy-nilly up and unders, apart from Barrett making a breakthrough and then doing an up and under and going to no one and then he apologised, it's something in his game where he's almost lost his confidence in his running game. I presume Barrett's going to be at 15. I don't want him to be there. That's my personal opinion. I'd rather Will there and I'd rather Leicester on the wing and Mark on the other. We don't know that lineup at this stage, but and Ireland have got that momentum with them. So, of course, everyone on that side are picking Ireland. I just think there's this thing about the All Blacks and, it's whether or not they've got a good enough team. And I think we've got a good enough team, it's whether the forwards can be up for it and get rid of those mistakes and stop the penalties. But I think we're going to be up for it.
Yeah. 100% agree with you for once, Chris. It's good to hear you. It's good to hear you supporting the All Blacks.
Back in the All Blacks.
Finally, he's on the wagon.
Listen, I hope Wayne Barnes isn't a factor, but he does tend to put himself in the game a lot more than some refs, I guess. So being a close game, you hope it doesn't come down to something like that. But I agree. I think the All Blacks are up for this, and it's one of those games where it's it's going to be written in history, and I think we're going to be up for it, and I think we'll get them in the end, and I think we will win probably by a slimmer margin than we're comfortable with, but I think we'll win.
So James Ryan isn't locking for Ireland; he's out injured, and I think the bench they've named is not as strong as it has been in for example, Ireland v South Africa. So so then that's them looking at us. I just really think that we need our front row to stay in the game for a good 50 minutes, be competitive, and that means Ethan de Groot and Tyrell Lomax staying on the park. Cody Taylor, who you'd know well, who's in exceptional form. So the front row is really important. And then the last piece of the puzzle for me is Rieko Ioane, because they will name him at 13, but he's just got to play really strongly both on both sides of the ball, because he's been a little bit under the radar this World Cup. And I think to beat Ireland, we really need him to shine and put his wingers away.
You wouldn't go amiss with Anton Leonard-Brown there, would you?
No, you would not.
Because when he's come on, he's
reliable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I think Anton Leonard-Brown will be named at 23.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm wondering, how would I pick the team? I'd have Anton Leonard-Brown there in centre to start and Ione off the bench.
Yeah, and then brings in Damien McKenzie off the bench. That could be a factor too. So, thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think there's probably two areas that if we nail, we'll win. And to me, that's the attacking breakdown. So that's the forwards when they're playing off 9 or 10, they're making gain line, and we're really accurate in our clean. So we're giving the likes of Richie Mwanga time with the ball to make good decisions. And the second point is defence. So I think if you look back at that, the Irish series back in New Zealand, was it last year or something? I think it was when they first time they'd won here. Defensively, we probably weren't as good as what we should have been, and I think if we can nail those two areas of our game, we'll be right. But Ireland have got a way of breaking down really good defences and making a mess of the breakdown. So, like, to me, we've got the team to do it. It's just being accurate in those areas.
Yeah, their attack with the short passing game, off set piece, is outstanding, isn't it? Yeah. So that's the area where our defence has to be on the money.
Yeah, and they're kind of always insinuating it's interference play. You know, they all run at the holes and get in the way of each other and just do these short pop balls, and that creates the gap, you know, and so that can be confusing, but they're almost suggesting maybe it's borderline as well. But so does James Lowe need a phone call?
Maybe.
He's been named in the team, so he's not taking any calls from New Zealand.
Yeah, he'll be up for that game, won't he?
He loves the day.
Yeah.
And he's been playing very well.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. All right. Well, what an exciting weekend it's going to be. We're going to be on the edge of the seats. I don't know if I can cope. Yeah. I might have to just go down the river and whitebait while it's on or something if the tide's right. So and wait to hear the result. All right, you're with the Mako Rugby Roundup. It's our great pleasure to welcome Tasman Mako 143 Quentin Strange to the podcast. It's great to have you here, mate, and let's cut to the chase. You were born in Takaka and brought up in Collingwood, another one. Yep. What is it about Golden Bay that's created so many good and great rugby players?
Well, I'm not sure, mate. It must be the water coming down from the Heafy track there or something.
We said that, didn't we? We said it's in the water.
Yeah. No, it's a really good community.
So tell us about those early years growing up, and was it just rugby, or did you get involved in other sports as well?
Yeah, I think what was that? Yeah, it was pretty much just been rugby for me. I have dabbled in a little bit of cricket here and there or whatever, but rugby's always been the main game in Collingwood. And having three older brothers playing knee rugby and stuff with, I learned tackle low pretty quick.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, for me, it's been rugby my whole life, as far as I can remember.
So were you always tall? I mean, Les got these stats. I don't know where from. 199 centimetres, so 6'6", so the Giants would be interested in you, and 112 kg. So,
yeah, a little bit heavier now and slower, but
always a big kid.
Yeah. No, I wasn't massively tall, sort of through my younger years, but I was always a little bit bigger than the mates next to me. So, you didn't know how big I was going to get, but. Yeah, it's worked out all right.
But what, smaller than your brothers? Or
tallest.
Tallest. Oh, there you go.
Not the solidest, though. Kent,
right.
Who's over here, he's pretty solid. And the other two, run to the litter.
Oh, there you go. So they only picked on you to a certain age and then they backed off.
Yeah, they backed off. Yeah.
So you would have spent a lot of time at Collingwood Rugby Club with your dad and your uncles and your mum and aunties and whatnot. So was it a big part of your life, Collingwood?
It was.
Is that where you hung out?
Yeah. I remember growing up, there wasn't too many kids, so just rugby started at under 8. So you're 4 and 5 playing with under 8. So it was sort of like a real mixed bag. Friday nights down there, fish and chips after, and then the following day, if you'd always hope Collingwood's playing at home, and you get to go down there and be a ball boy, or then you watch that game, and then you're playing in the mud after. So some great weekends down there.
Fish and chips on a Saturday seemed to be the stable diet. Wyatt Crockett was talking about that.
Yeah,
getting in the car, coming around to Nelson, picking up fish and chips.
Yeah,
good one.
Good option.
Brother, you went like a lot of good Golden Bay and Collingwood lads. You ended up boarding at Nelson College.
Yeah.
At that stage, through those college years, was it still all about rugby, or was there a focus on academic side of things?
Yeah, look, I wasn't the smartest bloke coming out of the Bay.
Another thing they always said too.
Yeah.
Not about you.
Yeah.
They just said school wasn't the main interest at the time.
Yeah, look, but I did work pretty hard through year 9 and 10 to set myself up to, be successful and around NCAA and whatnot. But I think rugby was always number one for me. I was like, let's have a crack at this first 15 and see what it's all about. Yeah,
man. With that in mind, who were the big influences going through college there for you?
Yeah, for me, big influences. Kahu Marfel. I remember in my from year 11 to 13, he was massive and just we'd catch up and he'd say, well, ask me sort of different questions around how I think I'm going or what do you think I can be better at, and he helped me massively in getting into that schools team. So he was a big influence, and I think also just the guys around me, like my mates, like Mitch Hunt and Brendan Asamoah, Isaac Salmon was there. The list goes on, but those guys, we were all really like just competitive people when we put our boots on. So I think, we all helped each other and
push each other.
Push each other. So
yeah, nice.
Did you guys win a press cup?
No, unfortunately not. We lost 2 finals in a semi in my 3 years. So.
Oh, nice. You're really leading with the good questions.
I think it's interesting because, some of those names are fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good list. Yeah. Right, you end up captaining the first 15, mate, and you got a few highlights aside from not winning the press cup you can remember?
Jeepers. It was actually quite a while ago now, It's gone quick. Yeah, look, we had some really good trips. I remember the quad trips away. We did a pre-season trip to Wellington one year. I got billeted, and we were playing. We played Scots College in Rongotai, I think they're called, by the airport there, and got billeted. And it was an interesting night before the game. I was out with this fella from school, and he took me to a couple of gang meetings and stuff, and it was it's crazy. But those away trips, like the bus trips to Christchurch and there, it's awesome, mate. It's a group of mates getting a day off school, going down to play footy.
That's some rugby.
Yeah, terrific. 2016, you played 7 games for New Zealand under-20s under coach Scott Robinson, and that team went on to win the Oceania tournament, but came 5th at the World Championships in England. So firstly, what was it like? Your first time being coached by Razor Robertson, who of course coached you a lot subsequently. A good coach to play under?
Yeah, great coach. It was at that age I hadn't really, I hadn't had too many coaches, and a lot of them had been through probably more the club level, and then just getting the amount of detail that Razor likes to give out. And I loved it. He was really good, and Jace Ryan was also coaching at the time as well. So that's sort of where I made that connection there.
Can you give me an example of what you mean by a bit of detail? Because we all hear how good he is at man management and coaching. So, what does he really just get the game at a minute level? What do you mean by the detail?
He gets the game and he understands it. But the detail within, say, it could be a set play or what we need to do at a certain moment in a game around what's required from each individual. So if it's a line out or we're shutting out a game or whatever, the detail in your role. So where do I need to be? What do I need to be doing? What's the picture I need to show the ref? Yes, like little minute things in games.
So he's a coach more than he's a man manager, eh? It's not just all rah-rah, it's actual coaching detail.
Yeah, there is. There's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He must be a fun guy to play under, that's for sure.
Yeah.
2016 was also the year you were picked for the Mako, and you're now in your 8th season, playing 69 games, which makes for a very good career for someone who's just turned 27. Looking back, are you proud to have represented your home province for so long?
Yeah, 100%. You know, like I think leaving school, it was the thing. The only thing I wanted to do was play for Tasman. I, watched them through 06 when they started to getting to that year and winning that title and then putting us into the premiership. And I just wanted to play one game,
You played 69, well done.
Yeah. So no, it's gone really fast, but hugely proud and privileged to have met a lot of great men, played alongside some lifetime mates, and and also coaches as well. Had some really good coaches come through.
So in your time, you've won a championship, you've won 2 premierships, but after a couple of challenges, still to win the Ranfurly Shield. Is that still a holy grail for you as a player and for the team?
Yeah, it is. Like, it'd be awesome to win it. But like for me, a successful year is winning a premiership. And if the Shield comes with that, then that's awesome. But like, I'd rather sit on top of the premiership than hold the Shield above that. But then it's also, you talk about the history of the Shield, and we've never had it. I would love to win that. Yeah, still there for me. But yeah,
let's say you did. Who do you not give it to look after?
Good question, Chris.
I mean, I'm not going to say Luca Inch because his name comes up all the time.
Yeah, he'd be one.
And do you ring the Hawke's Bay guys up and say, right, what did you do wrong, or what don't we do?
Yeah.
Don't take photos.
Don't take photos.
Put your phone in
a social media ban.
Yeah.
Would it be the youngest player would have to look after it?
Yeah, usually. Yeah. Yeah, that's usually what happens. Right. That's sort of how we run it.
So who is that?
Who is our youngest? Noah is I think he might be youngest.
All right,
it's very hard because we've got development players in the group as well.
Absolutely, but Noah's responsible.
Noah could. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
Let's talk captaincy. And you captain Nelson College first 15. How did that kind of come about? Do you enjoy leading, or are you kind of forced into it? Does the coach tap you on the shoulder and say you're the man?
Yeah, back then, like, it wasn't something that I, ever sort of thought, because I'd had Drummo and Hunty leading us, and I just didn't speak much, just played, and just tried to put in as much effort as I could for the jersey and them. And then that year, sort of a lot of levers, and I think it was me and Brendan sort of shared the role, and it wasn't really expected or anything, but it just come around here.
And do you enjoy that role?
I think it has its challenges. Yeah, I do enjoy it. But like, it's not everything for me. I like, if there's a better leader, then they can, fair enough, they lead. But I think it's just all around your actions on field.
You became a vice captain of the Mako in your 4th season with the team. Interestingly, for 2019 and then the 2020 NPC Premiership winning campaigns under David Havili. So what was his style? And, was there some things that you learnt off him?
Yeah, Davey, played a lot of rugby with him over the years. And the thing about Davey is he's a man of action, and he's a tough bloke. And when he says something, the boys listen. He's done a lot for this club, and the boys will play for him as well. So, which is a respect thing, which is awesome, and he deserves all that respect he gets. And I think him as a leader, he's been one of the best for Tasman, just in terms of setting the team up, being aligned with the coaches, and then also just allowing himself to play rather than feel like he's in control. Well, not in control of everyone and worried about other things. So it's one of his strengths. Yeah.
So I guess that's something you picked up on, and for you, now that you're captain, you've evolved into it as you've grown into that role, and now evolved into a senior player. Has that role changed for you and the way you handle things?
There's a little bit more on your plate week to week. So organising leadership meetings and what does our week look like, connecting with coaches all on your days off and stuff, which I still get used to. And I think it's at times it can get overwhelming, but you've got to be selfish as well and know when it's time to invest in yourself, because if you're playing well, then the team will follow ultimately. Yeah. So that's sort of one thing I've learned over the last couple of years around being involved in captaincy and whatnot.
I noticed a couple of times this year that you were much more assertive in terms of going up to the ref and asking for, I guess, a reason why there was any particular ruling. Is that something that comes with experience, being able to, manage the referee as well as your players?
Yeah, it is. It's referees are funny ones. You got to pick your times, but I definitely like to keep an open line of communication in a game, and I think that's really important that you allow that, because as the game plays out, then you've formed that sort of nice, calm way of connecting with the ref around getting messages to him or vice versa to us. And also, there's times where you don't agree with calls, so you just question that, or you question what he's looking at. So then you can potentially get him to look at it from our view. So the next time it might come round, he's looking at it from our side rather than their side or whatever. There's little wee things.
And you've played under other captains outside of the Mako as well. So, hers influenced you.
You'd have, I have played under some great captains. Sam Whitelock and Scott Barrett, both different in their own way, but both have had an influence on me and how they lead, I suppose, and how they captain their sides when Scott's still in charge, but when Sam was in charge as well. So both of them had different influences. Sammy Whitelock, massive around connecting with guys, younger guys, getting the group together, and Scott's the same. But Scott puts a lot of time in. He puts a lot of stuff on his shoulders, does a lot of homework, sets the team up really well through the week. So when we play the game, it's just like we're training in a way, like we've been there, we've done that, and both did that. But I just took different things away from from the two of them.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Speaking of the Crusaders, mate, they've obviously become a fairly important part of your life, playing 57 games for them. Also, on a positive note for once with Les Notes, you've never experienced a losing campaign. So no doubt the highlights.
You can do the research.
Any moments with the Crusaders that sort of stand out above any others?
Yeah, look, those first few years I probably didn't contribute much. Like I was kind of along for the ride and just learning. But yeah, years that really stand out. They all stand out because they're all different. I think probably like the last couple of years, because our squad, it had been put on a lot of adversity, a lot of injury, and we just trusted the guys in the group. And they were losing Davey this year, 12, and then other guys had to step up. And then, we lost Sevu and a lot of a few props and stuff like that. And I think, and the year before with the Blues, like there was a lot of injury and stuff. Those years are the ones that probably stick with you because you're like sitting there and you're going, jeepers, we've got 7 All Blacks sitting on the bench injured. And this is say Tamati Williams' second year of Super. And the boys just stood up and trusted each other, and it was awesome going up to Hamilton, man. And it's a hostile place, especially if you were in a Crusaders jersey. And the effort shown in that last 20 minutes was just crazy.
Yeah, that is something we always talk about, the depth of the Crusaders squad. And do you think that comes a lot from the structures and management that they have in place around there, and pulling guys from out of nowhere when they're needed?
Yeah, and also like they're set up to succeed. Like quite often they've come to the academy or they've been in the group. They're not just thrown in. Like leadership guys like Richie will get around the 10s and make sure they're ready, and vice versa around like loose forwards and stuff like that. Everyone's really well connected, and you prepare like so deep that when you're playing, you're free. Yeah,
it makes sense. Speaking about leaders, you obviously locked with Sam Whitelock, who's just become the most capped All Black ever. I imagine he'd be fairly influential on your game, and
100%. Man, he was like my idol growing up, and to play alongside him was like it's a cool way, but then you really look at why he's done what he's done, and it's just how he looks after himself during the week, the way he prepares through training. Those are the things that I've picked up off him, and I feel like I've nailed that a little bit better this year, being able to play, consistent minutes, and that he's ultimate professional way. Like you don't get to 150 tests from taking shortcuts. Yeah.
My next question is one that I could have given to Sean, but I won't.
It'd be mean.
You were named in the All Black squad for the 2020 Rugby Championship, but an ankle injury saw you miss that tournament. So that's got to be the most amazing high and then low in your rugby career. So how did you handle that situation?
Yes, it was. I think I lasted maybe 2 days or something. It was a tough one to take. Yeah, no, it was. I just felt like I never actually got a chance to even have a test week, and I didn't, and felt pretty unfair at the time. But I guess like that's what makes your resilience, and it's always been a dream and a goal of mine to make it to that team and play, but it wasn't meant to be. So hopefully, like next year's another year and a lot of guys moving on, I can get my summer right and set myself up to, be in the conversation, but just got to focus on me.
Well, I think you must be in the conversation because this year you got 2 games for the All Blacks 15. So is that an indication to your way of thinking that you're on the radar?
Yeah. You'd like to think so, but like I missed that team last year, so it just shows how much 12 months can change things in the pecking order. And I guess I'm on the right track, but there's still things in my game that I want to work on and be better at. So you've been talked about in the main squad, and it's a goal of mine, and I think everyone knows it. Yeah.
So what's that environment like, by the way, touring with an All Black 15?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah, it was a really good balance of professionalism, standards, and all that. But also we had fun because we'd all just beaten each other up through Super.
And then you got to get on with each other after that.
Yeah. Like you meet guys for the first time and you're like, shit, am I going to get along with this guy? We've had a tussle, only 2 weeks ago. But all the guys were they were outstanding, and we had some really good coaches. So Clayton from Chiefs, Rangy, Scott Hansen. So all of them had they wanted us to enjoy it, which was cool, and they wanted to win too. that was the great balance. And then we had Verks as manager, so I spent a lot of time with him, and he's one of the greats to have on tour as well. So we had a really good management group that allowed us to have fun, and we did, yeah.
And then knuckle down to training and win the games.
Yeah, well, it was like 40 degrees, so it wasn't too much training, but it was enough. Yeah.
Right. I think it's great that we've got that second tier of All Black 15, because the development that must come on those tours would be terrific. So you've mentioned that to us off here that you're going to be at the Crusaders in 2024 again, and maybe another year after that. And what about your plans for Tasman?
Yeah, so plan for I'll stick around for another 2 years with Tasman and Crusaders next year and beyond, and the following year as well. So they're aligned, and I think I just want to make the most of my time in New Zealand, because it goes very quick. Like started when I was 20 and 27 now, and it feels like it's only been a couple of years. So yeah, that's
so. Rob Penny, isn't it? New Crusaders coach. Have you had much to do with him in the past?
Not really. Like
no.
I met him once. He came in and watched training a couple of years ago. So I met him then, and then I seen him in Christchurch when we were down there for Tasman, but wasn't for very long. So, but what I've got from him, just your aura, and he seems like a really nice guy and wants to work hard in it, but enjoy it as well. So
you've had a bit of a chat with him, a bit of a one-on-one, or not really yet?
Nah, I wouldn't say that. It was just walking past each other on the in the lobby. So yeah,
just a bit of a good day.
How you going? Yeah, good to see you, sort of thing. But yeah, no, looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the environment, and breath of fresh air, something new direction, and hopefully same result though.
But a couple of old hands that and Piggy and Jimmy Marshall.
Yeah, they're still there, so it's good. It's now work well with Piggy and Jimmy Mars. Not actually too sure what he does. Does those things called the backs or something? But
and podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting. Yeah.
All right, mate. Hey, look, we really appreciate you coming in after a big season, and you've had the reviews and all of that. So to take time out with us is absolutely fantastic. But good timing, because it gives us a chance to get an insight on how the season went from your guys' point of view. And but obviously, fantastic news to hear that you're going to be around for a couple more years, and we'll see you in the Super Rugby Championship as well, which is fantastic. And getting ready for the next Crusaders campaign, which won't be that far away, probably.
It goes quick. But no.
So when do they start, actually perhaps getting on the turf for a bit of training?
So the boys all connect up start of December, 28th November, sort of thing.
So they don't,
a few weeks.
They don't even give you a break, look, after Christmas.
Yeah.
Because when is it? When's the first game? Sort of late February?
February, isn't it?
Yeah, we're off to play Munster in Bristol for pre-season.
Oh, wow.
In early Feb. So,
do you play against Nangaville?
Yeah.
Hopefully, how's that?
Yeah, so now it'll be cool to see him over there, actually. Yeah.
Oh, we wish him all the best.
Exciting.
He came in last week, wasn't it? Yes. Seems like ages ago, but it was only last week, and we saw the shout out and goodbye to him. He's been a great player for the Mako over the years, hasn't he? So he'll be dearly missed.
One of the greats, him and Mitch Hunt. Yeah, they will be missed.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's great you're sticking around, mate. It's fantastic to get the captain in and sum up the season. Wish you all the best for the upcoming season, and hope to have you back sometime.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Thank you, Les, once again.
Yeah, pleasure.
And what's happening for you, I suppose, in front of the TV?
It's those 2 8 a.m. games that have got my attention, and breakfast.
I was going to say 2 breakfasts.
Yeah, mate, we'll be all on. Yeah.
So just thoroughly looking forward to those. I'll catch up with the highlights of the 4 a.m. games some other time, but it's going to be a wonderful weekend of rugby.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to it. I'll be making sure I catch all 4 live and see how we get on from there.
If we lose the game, are we going to be back next week?
Yes.
Right. So we're going to rise above it.
Yes,
we'll be good losers.
We've got a fabulous guest next week in Kahu Marfell.
Oh, well, there you go.
Quinn's second dad.
So we've got to come back. We've got to come back. We've got to take it on the chin and come back.
Absolutely. Dropping our lip.
We'll wear Irish hats or something.
Okay.
No, we'll be right.
That's not going to happen. We're all wearing black next.
Okay. I like the optimism. Good stuff. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you to our listeners. And we'll talk to you again next week.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. What's on, where and when? It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.